This Russian T-72B3 tank was destroyed by a Ukrainian drone. Now Ukrainian drone operators then finish off this APC, and the strike hits its fuel tank, causing it to burn completely. Another Russian APC is struck, and this time the drone attack ignites a fire that reaches the ammunition storage, resulting in a large explosion. In Russian APC like the BTR series, ammunition is typically stored inside the vehicle, often near the turret and along the troop compartment walls. This internal storage makes the vehicle more vulnerable in combat. When a drone strike penetrates the armor, it can ignite the ammunition, triggering a catastrophic detonation that results in a massive and often fatal explosion inside the vehicle. If ammunition is stored beneath the vehicle, a mine detonation can trigger an even larger explosion. Ukrainian drone operators identify a Russian armored personnel carrier by observing its movements and structure. Using reconnaissance, they note the vehicle's ammunition storage, typically in the rear compartment. The operators relay this information to guide a precise strike, targeting the most vulnerable area. In July 2025, Russian forces launched an assault in the village of Kislivka, Kharkiv region. Ukrainian UAV operators destroyed a tank and an IFV from the column, and also struck 2 additional IFs and 1 armored fighting vehicle. Ukrainian forces deployed multiple drones in a coordinated effort to target and destroy this heavily armored vehicle, repeatedly striking it until it was disabled. And on one occasion, they used a drone to drop bombs directly on the vehicle, ultimately destroying it completely. Another occasion occurred in June 2025 near the village of Dnipro, Donetsk region, where Ukrainian drone operators destroyed 3 Russian turtle tanks. These tanks are heavily fortified, with exceptionally thick armor, making them difficult to destroy through conventional strikes, and their resilience often requires precise targeting and multiple coordinated attacks to neutralize effectively. However, destroying turtle tanks remains strategically important, despite requiring multiple drone strikes, as each tank is a high-value asset with heavy armor and advanced systems, often costing millions of dollars. In comparison, the drones used in these operations are relatively low cost, making such strikes both economically and tactically advantageous. The last remaining tank required only a single strike, as the rear of the vehicle was fully exposed, causing it to catch fire. In December 2025, during a search and capture operation, 2 Ukrainian soldiers took 6 Russian servicemen prisoner. The footage shows the progression of the operation and the subsequent evacuation of the captured personnel. The first phase of the operation involved evacuating all the soldiers from the bunker, with each individual emerging one by one, hands clearly visible. A total of 6 Russian prisoners were brought out of the bunker, and the Ukrainian soldiers confirmed that no additional personnel remained inside. The Ukrainian soldiers then conducted a search of the captured personnel to ensure there were no hidden threats, including weapons, explosives, or any concealed equipment that could pose a danger during their evacuation. The Ukrainian soldier then gave instructions for the evacuation and directed the prisoners toward the open field. This marked the second phase of the operation. The prisoners were escorted across the open area, while a reconnaissance drone monitored their movements, ensuring they posed no threat during the transfer. As the prisoners were moving across the open field toward the pickup zone, an artillery explosion occurred. Despite the explosion, the Russian prisoners did not hesitate and continued moving almost immediately toward Ukrainian positions. It appears that Russian artillery targeted the area where their own personnel were located, possibly to prevent capture or as a result of misidentification and poor coordination, leading to a strike on their own comrades. After several miles, they were safely secured, with no casualties on either side. The reason for the artillery strike remains unclear, but the mission was successful for Ukraine. Aerial reconnaissance detected a large concentration of enemy forces in a forested area. Multiple APCs, transport vehicles, and other expensive equipment were identified in the area, prompting Ukrainian forces to launch an artillery strike that neutralized the enemy forces. The larger explosion suggests that ammunition storage may have been hit, or that a heavier munition was used, resulting in a more powerful detonation than those caused by strikes on individual vehicles. In February 2026, in the village of Petropavlovka, Kharkiv region, Ukrainian artillery struck Russian D-30 howitzer positions, ammunition depots, and personnel locations. These targets were spread across a wide area, including urban zones, forested locations, and open roads. The weather was clear, making detection easier, while melting snow exposed tracks and positions, aiding the identification of enemy forces. Reconnaissance drones, along with ground scouts and aerial surveillance, were used to identify targets by tracking movement, detecting vehicle heat signatures, and observing exposed positions and supply activity across varied terrain. Once targets are identified, artillery units engage them with precision fire to destroy equipment, disrupt positions, and limit enemy movement and coordination. The detected Russian soldiers were eliminated by precision fire. Throughout the war, Ukraine has used artillery to strike enemy positions, destroy equipment, and disrupt supply lines, supporting defensive and counteroffensive operations across urban, forested, and open battlefield environments. In modern warfare, artillery refers broadly to indirect and direct fire systems used to engage enemy forces at range, including traditional tube artillery, rocket systems, armored vehicles, and various anti-armor weapons used to deliver concentrated firepower. In this captured footage, aerial reconnaissance detected an enemy T-72B concealed among trees, prompting an artillery strike to destroy the target. The target was already burning and did not require a second strike. The fire spread rapidly, destroying the tank and nearby vegetation. After several hours, the vehicle was completely burned and could not be recovered by Russian forces. Ukrainian soldiers later inspected the site, where the ground was burned and scattered with tank debris. A large crater in front of the vehicle indicates where the artillery strike landed. The tank was left unrecoverable, and the operation was successful for Ukrainian forces. In August 2025, near the village of Lyman Pershi in the Kharkiv region, FPV drone operators of the Defense Forces of Ukraine repelled a Russian mechanized assault involving 2 tanks, 3 MTLBs, and approximately 40 assault troops. Russian forces had already abandoned these vehicles, making them easier targets for Ukrainian drone operators. Ukrainian forces used kamikaze drones to destroy the vehicles, while reconnaissance drones confirmed the strikes. Clear weather conditions allowed smoke from the destroyed vehicles to be visible from a distance. Smoke soon rose from the destroyed vehicles, covering the area. Despite this, Ukrainian drone operators continued the strikes, and after multiple hits, all vehicles were fully burning and destroyed, with sustained fires indicating complete loss of equipment. In modern warfare, robotic systems are increasingly used in the war, evolving rapidly, and infantry units must adapt their tactics to account for their growing presence on the battlefield. For example, the Laya ground-based robotic complex is equipped with an FN-MAG machine gun, capable of engaging both drones and infantry. These robots can be monitored far away from the battlefield, which allows operators to conduct missions with reduced risk to personnel, while maintaining effective control and situational awareness. In February 2026, in the village of Novoslivka, Donetsk Oblast, a concentration of enemy forces was detected in a former school building. A ground robot carrying explosives was deployed to the site, and part of the building was destroyed in the resulting detonation. Besides bombing and targeting, robots can also be used to transport logistical supplies to frontline positions. In this footage, Russian forces had previously used the same route for supply transport and considered it relatively safe despite earlier strikes. Later, a ground robot moved along the route, but Ukrainian forces had previously placed landmines on the road. In this final footage, a Ukrainian ground robot is struck by a Russian kamikaze drone. However, the drone misses, and the robot is able to deliver the supplies to Ukrainian positions. Thank you for watching Iron Pulse Media. Subscribe to our channel to see more footage from the world's most critical conflict zones. Stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll see you next time on Iron Pulse Media.